Moving on to our second last topic of the day. Jesse, you saw The French Dispatch. I'm just realizing I missed a great segue opportunity because Dune stars Timothée Chalamet, so does this. What are your thoughts on French Dispatch?
So French Dispatch is Wes Anderson's latest film. I went and saw this with my brother because he really likes Wes. My brother's not a movie person, but he does have a special soft spot for Wes Anderson films. He really likes Wes Anderson movies. And I said, yeah, man, look, we'll go see it. So I saw it with him, and it's very, very Wes Anderson. Like, if you know Wes Anderson movies, if you like Wes Anderson, this is just Wes Anderson just to a T. Like the camera shots are just like the way that they're framed. It's like all the activities like in this really wide shot. You see the characters, and it just holds there. Just the framing, the composition, the tone. It's got Wes Anderson's witty humor, subtle humor. It was good. I didn't think it was great. A lot of people are praising this movie. I didn't grab me as much as, say, Grand Budapest Hotel did, because that's probably my favorite Wes Anderson film of his. For me, Wes Anderson's a very kind of mixed bag. Like, some of his movies I really like, and then others I'm kind of they're all right. And this is one I was more about. So it follows the French Dispatch magazine, which is apparently a ripoff of the New Yorker. And it's all these journalists and reporters, and they're doing the final issue of the French Dispatch because the head editor, played by Bill Murray, dies, and he's founded the magazine and whatnot. So basically, they're doing a final issue, and it's just all the different journalists and reporters. And there's one segment with Owen Wilson, and he's like a cycling reporter, and he talks about the city, the French city they're in, and how it's hasn't much. Not much has changed over time, and just talking about different aspects of the city. Then you have a segment with Benicio del Toro is like an artist, but he's like in a maximum security prison because he killed 2 people. And Adrian Brody plays like this art dealer who's like obsessed with Benicio del Toro's artwork, and it's just like a bunch of splotches and stuff like that because he's doing like a naked portraits of this prison guard played by I'm going to butcher her name, but Léa Seydoux, I think her name is. She's an actress. She's a French actress. That was probably my favorite part in the whole movie, that whole segment, because it plays like it's just different sections of the magazine and just the relevant reporters or stories relevant to that final issue. So then there's one where Frances McDormand, who I love, she plays like a political reporter, and she reports on Timothée Chalamet, who's leading like a student revolution against the mayor of the town, and they play like a chess match. It's like a chess. It's quite funny. It's kind of hard to explain, but and she ends up like developing a relationship with Timothée Chalamet, and it's quite funny in some spots. And then the last one has Jeffrey Wright, who he reports on he has a dinner with this the head of police in this French town, and the head of police is his son ends up getting kidnapped by Edward Norton, who leads like a band of criminals. So it's all a bunch of stories just kind of meshed, like an anthology kind of. And for me, some were a lot more stronger than the others. For me, by far the most strong one was the Benicio del Toro Adrian Brody. I found it the most funny, the most witty. The problem I had with the film was it's so manufactured and so engineered. Like, there's so many references that would just go over people's heads. Like, for me, there was and maybe I'm not, because I'm not smart enough or something like that, but there's so many references that just went over my head, and I just didn't get it. And it was kind of took me out of it a bit. And
do you mean like historical references?
Just historical references and references to a whole bunch of different things. And for me, some jokes landed and others didn't. And I know it's not, it's not technically, it's not supposed to be like heavy on the comedy, but it's like that subtle, witty comedy that Wes Anderson, usually has when he had in the Grand Budapest Hotel and whatnot. It just didn't grab me as much, this movie, unfortunately, and it had its moments. One of the interesting things I found was like at times it would be in color, but then it would be in black and white, and then it'd be widescreen, and there'd be 4:3, just in different scenes. Then there'd be some scenes where it'd be in animation, which I thought was pretty cool. Like, he just all over the place, like just the framing and he just played around with the framing and the color and the animation and the real. So I thought that was interesting, and there's parts I enjoyed, but then other parts I was just kind of like not engaged, and I just wasn't engaged by it. So it's a good film, but just not a great film. It's just a very sort of Wes Anderson movie, and I feel like for me, it just Grand Budapest to me is his best movie, and it just paled a bit more in comparison. And I don't know, people like say don't compare the filmography or the director and whatnot, but I don't know. I just
it's hard not to, because he's so distinctive.
Yeah,
like his color palettes and his framing and the camera movements, everything. Even some of the characters, like character formats are. There's one character that follows the exact same formula in every single picture. It sounds like he threw bits of all of his films into a blender.
A little bit, yeah. I haven't seen all of his movies. I've only seen a few. Everything is just, it's so specific to the point where it's a bit too overdone.
Isolating.
Yeah, it's a bit it's a bit too overdone at points, and I was kind of a little bit disengaged at parts by it. Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad film. It's one of those movies, to be honest, you'd probably understand more of it the more you watched it. Like, I'd probably understand more about the movie if I watched it again. So yeah. That's basically it. I was going to say something else, but I completely forgot. But yeah. So.
Okay.
I don't mean to segue, but I feel like a lot of the stuff you said there is my opinion of the next film we have to cover.
Oh, okay.
So,
that's funny.
Although that one's maybe even weirder. Cool. Yeah, I've got to check that one out.
French Dispatch is better than. I'll say this. Sorry, I'll just say this about the French Dispatch. No. If you like Wes Anderson, to me, this movie's for Wes Anderson fans. I wouldn't watch this movie unless you're a fan of Wes Anderson's movies. If you're a fan of Wes Anderson's movies, watch this. You'll probably enjoy it. If you're not a fan of Wes Anderson movies, stay well clear of this movie, because you will not enjoy this movie at all. So that's my final thought. I did think it was better than our next movie though. So.